Hey there, and welcome to the Leftover Culture Review. Today we are rocking a really cool music video style lighting setup for a really good reason. Today we are reviewing Earthbound by James Jupiter, a really cool sci-fi album that really takes you on a journey, so stay tuned. So Earthbound by James Jupiter, local Queensland artist, really good at what he does, really dedicated. He's actually helped me on projects like More Madness. I've really enjoyed working with him, and when I saw he had a full-length album out, I knew since last year I've been listening to it on Bandcamp. You can go listen to it on Bandcamp as well, and that's also where you can pick up the special edition cassette versions. It's packaged up really nicely, and it really helps set the theme, set the mood for this album, because it really is a journey. It's a sci-fi adventure, and the theme runs really close to our first Alien movie. So it's called Earthbound. It's got nothing to do with the Earthbound video games. It's about a spaceship coming back to Earth. And on the spaceship, stuff ain't great. There's an alien life form that's entered the spaceship and is starting to kill people off. And suddenly this Earthbound ship, by the end of the album, it's gone through hell, and it's potentially it is going to wipe out all life on Earth just because it's carrying this really dangerous alien species. James Jupiter has done a really good job just setting the mood with an album like this and using music as a way to create this atmosphere. So I've had plenty of chances to listen to the album, and I'm really keen to share it with you, because starting right there in track 1, the music feels so ethereal, it feels so dreamlike. The first track, Lullaby, it's all about the occupants of this spaceship. They are in, hypersleep, cryosleep, whatever you want to call it. They are out for the count, and everything is very dreamlike. It's a very sweet way to start this album. It turns dark incredibly quickly, but for those first few tracks, it feels comforting nearly to be out in space. You can nearly visualize the stars twinkling in the background. You can nearly visualize that weightless feeling you'd have. And then by the third track on the album, Awakening, things really start to pick up. You didn't really feel stressed or anxious in any way before. It was very dreamlike, it was very soft and flowing, and then suddenly Awakening is a big turning point in the album. It's where the crew members start waking up and they start realizing that stuff ain't great. Ramping up to the end of side A on this album, at least, you've got Contact, Interlude, Unknown Presence, Madness Part 1, and Extermination. As we get to the end of side 1 on this cassette, the sounds that we are hearing they're more menacing, they're more mechanical, they're more machine-like. They don't feel as human, as comforting anymore. Things really aren't great for our crew members, and you can really feel the anxiousness, the tension while you're there. It's a great first start to the album, and to be honest, it's actually that progress from Lullaby all the way up to the intermission. James Jupiter creates this really awesome audio space where you can actually put yourself into the story and you can actually feel the emotion. So it's not just watching it, it's not just reading a book about it, but you can actually start to feel the emotion through the audio itself and just try and feel that anxiousness, that tenseness in the atmosphere. it's a really new experience for me. I haven't listened to many like complete albums like this that do create that journey. So I do really appreciate it. And again, going back to the packaging really starts to tell that story as well. On Bandcamp you can see like the blurb for the album and what the album's about. But being able to see like the spaceship here on the front cover, as well as what they return to on Earth on the inside sleeve, I really feel like that helps set the scene for the music that we're listening to. So side one for this album, all the way from Lullaby to Space Flight, Dreaming to The Awakening. Then we have Contact, Interlude, Unknown Presence, Madness Part 1 and Extermination. Look, I'm listing off the names of these songs, but when you're listening to it it all feels like part of that same journey. And I think James Jupiter, he's done a really awesome job letting you experience what these crew flight members were really like feeling, from being fast asleep to waking up in this stressful situation to having things go really wrong really fast. The music, it creates this tenseness, it creates this stress, and I think James Jupiter did a really good job creating that journey for me, at least. I don't listen to many albums like this where the names of the songs don't mean much to me. I listen to it from start to finish, and I guess being on a cassette, it's really geared towards being able to pop in the cassette, hit play, and both sides, side A and side B, they go from one extreme to the other. So side A, very dreamlike, very out in space, weightless, to this incredibly menacing, much more mechanical sounding soundtrack, which does sound more stressful, creating that tension for me. And then on side two, we really get to experience the rest of that stress, that anxiety, that tenseness there on the ship, with tracks like Intermission, Shadow featuring Stilz, and Madness Part 2. This is the action sequence of the album itself, and I really appreciate what he does here, but then he ramps down, and I really like how James Jupiter, instead of having this big triumphant ending, we have, you know, Beacon, which is it's a warm sounding song. There's lots of familiar sounds that, coming from some of those more menacing, more stressful, more mechanical sounding tracks, having a track like Beacon sounds really comforting, and I really appreciate how James Jupiter flows into Beacon, and then suddenly you've got tracks like Enter Earth and Lost Hope, and both of them feel a lot emptier, a lot more shallow, a little bit more echoey, and they're not happy songs. Earth isn't a great place by the time our Earthbound flight crew arrive. Sorry, cassette packaging is falling apart. But look, Earth is not a happy place by the time these guys finish their voyage and get home. So I do really appreciate the way James Jupiter handled this whole album and handled creating an audio experience. Like, again, I recommend everyone heading over to Bandcamp just to check him out, check out what he can do. He's helped me, again, with more madness in the past, and I really do appreciate what he's been putting out. Again, thank you so much for tuning into this audio review, and if you want to download more madness and hear James Jupiter's audio contributions there as well, then please head over to the Leftover Culture Review website, download more madness. The game is currently going through a few updates, so, you know, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell icon, and I will definitely let you know once the game's been updated and what's happening. Thank you so much for tuning in, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you again with more Leftover Culture. Cheers, guys.